The release of version 2.0 got many players excited to try out new 5-star characters as well as echoes from different Sonata effects, but Kuro, being the giga-chad of gacha gaming, not only gave us new echoes to try out, but added new versions of existing 4-cost echoes known as Nightmare Echoes. All the Nightmare Echoes except Nightmare Mourning Aix and Nightmare Impermanence Heron belong to the old Sonata effect, so all you need to do is to replace them with the old ones that you have on characters like Jiyan, Chisha, Kukaracha, and Changli. These echoes are insanely powerful, but only when used the right way. So in this video, I'm gonna cover what these Nightmare Echoes actually are, why you should use them, how to easily unlock them, how each of them works, and finally how you can implement them in your rotations. This will probably be one of my longest videos, so be sure to use the timestamps to quickly navigate to your preferred section. As always, if this video proves helpful or enjoyable in any way, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to see future videos on the channel. Old Sonata effects like the Sierra Gale, Molten Rift, and Void Thunder have their respective 4-cost echoes, including Feilian Beringal, Inferno Rider, Tempest Memphis, and Thundering Memphis. These echoes not only deal decent damage, but provides you with insane buffs as well. However, most of these buffs are locked behind certain conditions that you need to fulfill before you can actually make use of them. For example, Feilian Beringal requires you to land the follow-up log or tree hit before you can gain the 12% arrow damage and 12% heavy attack damage bonus. The same thing applies to Inferno Rider, who needs to land the last hit where he summons his motorbike wheel to hit the enemy before the equipped resonator can gain the 12% basic attack and 12% fusion damage bonus. The most efficient way to use these echoes without wasting too much time was to animation cancel their last attack by swapping to your sub DPS before you intro to your DPS character again, who will now have the echo buff in addition to other buffs from your teammate to do big damage. But this is where Nightmare Echoes comes in, which gets rid of having to fulfill these conditions before you can gain access to the buffs that they provide. An example is Nightmare Inferno Rider, which grants you 12% fusion damage bonus and 12% resonance skill damage bonus by just equipping it in your main echo slot, which is the first one. The same thing applies to Nightmare Thundering Memphis, which grants you 12% electro damage bonus and 12% resonance liberation damage bonus just by equipping it in your main slot. So the trend here is fairly obvious that you need to equip the Nightmare Echoes in your main slot to gain the buff that they provide. On top of that, they come with brand new animations, which are very short compared to the old ones and easy to activate in battle. So I recommend everyone to start farming for them as quickly as possible. But to do that, you need to unlock them first, and here's how you can do that. The first thing you need to do is to unlock every waypoint in Renacita to make it easy for you to reach places that have the Dream Patrol challenge. Luckily, you have the flight ability, so it will be very easy for you to reach places that have the resonance beacon on the map. Speaking of Dream Patrol, they are basically combat challenges that you need to complete before you can unlock Nightmare Echoes. To find Dream Patrol challenges, all you need to do is to open your map while in Renacita and click on the compass icon on the top left corner of your screen. An exploration progress will pop up depending on which side of the map that you are at that moment. Now, click on the 2 arrowheads on the top left corner of your screen to open the 8 areas available on the map of Renacita. Every area you see here except Raguna City has one Nightmare Echo that you can find on that particular area. To do that, let's use Hallowed Reach as an example. As you can see here, I have already unlocked the Nightmare boss in that area, which is the Feilian Beringal boss, and in order to do that, you need to find the Dream Patrol challenges on that side of the map, which you can do right here on the Exploration Progress page and click on Track. This will show you where the Dream Patrol challenge will be, so you can do the same thing for all the 7 areas to unlock the Nightmare bosses. Keep in mind that you don't need to complete all the Dream Patrol challenges for a particular area to unlock the Nightmare boss. You can see here that upon discovering the last Dream Patrol challenge, it unlocked Crownless in this particular area called Penitent's End. So basically what I'm trying to say here is that upon discovering the last Dream Patrol challenge, you can decide not to complete it, but the Nightmare boss for that particular area will be unlocked. Another thing you should keep in mind is that the Dream Patrol challenges for Penitent's End in particular will not be readily available if you unlock all the resonance beacon on that part of the map. To make Dream Patrol challenges available, you need to complete the Ruins Where Shadows Roam, which you can find on the Exploration Progress page and simply track it to find it on the map. These challenges basically require you to keep the enemy in the area where the purple torch is lit, or else they'll be immune to all types of damage. If the torch goes out, you can stand near the torch while dodging attacks to allow these echoes called Feignis to shoot a fireball in your direction, which can light up the torch once again. Completing all of them on Penitent End will unlock the Dream Patrol challenges. Now let's cover how you can properly use these Nightmare Echoes once you gain access to them in your inventory, starting with Feilian Beringal. Equipping this echo in your main slot will grant the wielder 12% arrow damage and 12% heavy attack damage, which is pretty similar to the normal one, but the buff activation requirement is now different. Casting this echo skill will summon Feilian Beringal to slam the ground with the log, dealing arrow damage, and leave the log on the field, which will do continuous damage over time, up to 5 times. Being a summoning type echo makes it even better because you don't have to waste time transforming into it. Here's how you can properly use this echo in battle during your rotations. You need to cast it right after the intro skill hit from Mortefi to Jiyan, because you need to wait for Jiyan's intro skill to hit the enemy before you cast the echo skill, or else the echo skill cast will interrupt the intro skill hit, so you won't gain any forte stacks to use your liberation. Using it after Jiyan's intro also means that the echo can deal more damage because of all the buffs that you've stacked up on Jiyan. Here's a quick rotation showcase. Now let's cover Nightmare Inferno Rider. Equipping this echo in your main slot will grant the equipped character 12% fusion damage and 12% resonance skill damage bonus, which is better than the normal Inferno Rider because it buffs fusion damage and basic attack damage. The Nightmare version is a huge upgrade because majority of fusion damage dealers that we have in the game so far, like Chang-Li and Chisha, scale off resonance skill damage. Also keep in mind that this is not necessarily a downgrade for Encore because while you're in her liberation state, her skill cooldown becomes very short, so she can still make use of the resonance skill damage buff from the Nightmare Inferno Rider. Casting this echo by holding your echo skill button will allow Inferno Rider to start riding its motorbike just like the normal one, which is very good for exploration. However, pressing your echo skill button will allow it to leap in the air and perform a downward slam with a very decent damage scaling of 405%. The most effective way to use this echo is to use it at the end of your rotation. This is because outro buffs from sub DPS characters like Chang-Li last for only 10 seconds, so using this echo as soon as you intro from your sub DPS to your main DPS is not a very good idea because you'll be spending some of those precious buff duration to cast the echo skill. Unfortunately, Chang-Li is the only character that I don't have on my account, so I'll be using Jeji and Chisha instead for a quick rotation showcase. Now let's cover Thundering Memphis. Equipping this echo in your main slot will grant the equipped character 12% electro damage and 12% resonance liberation damage bonus. This Nightmare Echo received the highest level of upgrade because the normal one takes about a month to finish casting its echo skill, so it was a good idea to stay away from it. The Nightmare Pro Max version will leap in the air and unleash a thunderbolt to hit the enemies in front of it with a very decent damage scaling of 405%. The most efficient way to use this echo is much similar to the Nightmare Inferno rider that we previously discussed. You need to use it after your rotation and cancel the animation by swapping to another character, because casting it at the beginning of your main DPS damage window will reduce the buff duration for that particular character to do more damage from their abilities. If you're quick enough, the echo skill damage will still benefit from the outro buff from your sub DPS like Yinlin. Here's a quick rotation showcase. Now let's cover Nightmare Crownless. Equipping this echo in your main echo slot will grant the equipped character 12% havoc damage and 12% basic attack damage, which is better than the normal one because the normal one buffs resonance skill damage instead of basic attack damage. The havoc damage dealers that we currently have on our roster include Camellia and Havoc Rover. Camellia's Ephemeral Forte skill, which contributes to a higher percentage of her damage source, is considered as basic attack damage, and Havoc Rover also gains pretty decent scalings on their basic attacks when they go into the Dark Surge state, so the basic attack buff is a better upgrade for them instead of the resonance skill damage. Casting this echo skill makes your character transform into Crownless and deliver a quick upward slash, which is insanely good for parrying attacks. You get 3 charges, and the damage dealt by this echo skill is also increased by 20% upon casting. Since echo skills generally cancel animations except liberation animations and some special animations in the game, it's better to use this echo as a tool to cancel your DPS animations like intro skills, resonance skill cast, and at the end of your basic attack animations, since you can cast it multiple times. Here's a quick rotation showcase. Now let's cover Tempest Memphis. Equipping this echo in your main slot will grant you 12% electro damage bonus and 12% resonance skill damage bonus. This echo should be the least of your priorities because electro DPS characters that we currently have in the game so far, including Camouflage and Zhang Li Yao, all scale off resonance liberation damage, so your main priority is getting Thundering Memphis instead of Tempest Memphis. But in case a character becomes available that can use it, here's how you can do that efficiently. This echo has the longest casting animation among the Nightmare echoes, and the fact that we cannot snapshot buffs in Withering Waves reduces this echo's value pretty significantly. What I mean by snapshot is explained in this clip right here. This is the damage that we get from using this echo while Yinlin's outro buff lasts long enough to cover the long echo skill animation. And this is the damage that we get when the echo skill was used before Yinlin's outro buff ran out during the echo skill animation. If snapshot was available in Withering Waves, the echo skill would have captured Yinlin's outro buff since it was used when the buff was still available, but we lost it during the echo skill animation. In terms of practical usage, this echo skill will never benefit from sub DPS elemental damage amplification effect because it takes way too long to use it at the end of your main DPS damage window. So the best option is to just use it at the end of your DPS character's damage window anyway, but at least it'll benefit from damage amplification outro buffs from your healers like Verena and Shorekeeper. Here's a quick rotation showcase. Now let's cover Mourning Aix. The character who has this echo equipped in their main slot will gain 12% spectral damage bonus, and this echo belongs to a different Sonata effect called the Eternal Radiance. When this echo skill is cast, the equipped character will summon the Mourning Aix to do damage in a large area of effect. The insane part is that it'll increase the damage dealt to enemies who have been inflicted with the Spectral Frazzle debuff. The way Spectral Frazzle works is that it'll deal spectral damage to enemies over time, as you can see in this clip right here. The only character at the moment who can inflict this debuff is Spectral Rover. Spectral Rover will apply the Spectral Frazzle debuff whenever you use their Forte skill or when they use their Liberation, so casting the Mourning Aix Nightmare Echo after the debuff have been applied will allow the Echo skill to deal increased damage as shown in this clip right here. Unfortunately, I cannot provide a quick rotation showcase for this echo because I haven't had that much playtime with Spectral Rover, so I'll leave that in her dedicated guide video, which will be available very soon. But the general idea is to use the echo after applying the Spectral Frazzle debuff while having all buffs from your healer and sub DPS characters. The last Nightmare Echo left to cover is Impermanence Heron. This echo also belongs to a different Sonata effect called the Midnight Veil. The equipped character gains 12% Havoc damage bonus and 12% heavy attack damage bonus. Characters that can use this echo include Danjin and Rocha. Danjin can benefit from the heavy attack buff because her Scatter Bloom Forte ability is considered as heavy attack damage. Rocha's kit has not been confirmed yet, but since she's the first limited Havoc damage buffer and Midnight Veil is made for Havoc sub DPS characters, it's safe to assume that her plunge attacks might scale off heavy attack damage. Casting this echo skill will summon Impermanence Heron to spin around, dealing damage in a large area of effect with a decent damage scaling. This echo animation can be swap cancelled as well, and the rotation is the same one that I provided for the Nightmare Crownless showcase. Overall, I'm really impressed by the idea of Nightmare Echoes because it solves some of the major problems created by previous 4-course echoes, and it also provides a refreshing experience, especially when playing damage dealers who were introduced in the game before version 2.0. Let me know if I missed anything, and if YouTube gets this right, you should like this video that pops up on the screen, so be sure to give it a watch and join the Discord community. Link will be in the description. Catch you guys in the next one. Bye bye.